One out.
My name is Jeff Scott Phillips. I wrote a book called Big Fat Food Fraud because I worked for 7 years in the food and weight loss industries. Saw a lot of corruption, a lot of horrible stuff being done. I had a health food delivery company at first and then took on investors and started an actual food manufacturing company making health food for other brands. When I took on investors, all of a sudden the goal is now revenue, not food, not end results for customers. It was just the money, that's it. So I created advertising disguised as education. We refer to it as edutizing. So whatever the food was that we were trying to pitch, for example, gluten-free. Some people have a serious gluten allergy. Well, we would take it further. We would say, hey, if you have the slightest case of IBS or stomach irritation, if you have low energy, if you have erectile dysfunction, that's probably gluten. You need to eat our food that just, hey, happens to be gluten-free. Did I have any science backing it up? No. We would just make this stuff up and then send it down the media rabbit hole. We would put it in medical journals. We would send it to newspapers, personal trainers, doctors, dietitians, nutritionists, and then start saying, it's all about distracting customers. You only put the label low fat on something when it's got a bunch of sugar, and vice versa. It got to the point where I was pretty much lying all day, every day. That was my job, was to make up lies about the food.
We're now joined by Jeff Scott Phillips, author of Big Fat Food Fraud. And I first want to ask you, why did you ultimately leave the industry?
Well, it got to the point where I hated what I was doing on a regular basis. I mean, I was basically being paid to lie. So that was tough, just doing my job every day. But then what really pushed me over the edge was I started getting contacted from people I knew and cared about, old customers, friends, family. My mother had been eating my food and lost 50 pounds. And I started hearing back from these people saying, you know, we gained it all back and we're having other health issues. And how could I stay in, you know?
Talk about the kinds of tactics you have used to influence customers. Because I always tell people, if something sounds too good to be true, it is. Almost always.
Sure. So one of the worst things that we were doing, you know, to get people to eat the food, we called it edutizing. Essentially, it was advertising disguised as education. So we would create articles and medical research papers and scientific, what looked like scientific studies, and we just sent them out to the media. Not only did the media pick them up and share them, really without any question, but also we would send them directly to doctors. We would send them to personal trainers, nutritionists, and they too would then run to the media.
And I think the big problem is that maybe people don't realize is, unfortunately, with our medical system, doctors are not adequately trained in nutrition, so that they are susceptible. You get something that looks like a legitimate medical study, you don't really even have the knowledge to question it or really appropriately determine how to interpret that for your patients. So most doctors are easy targets for this sort of thing, which is really disturbing to me.
Would you capitalize on a lot of the trendy things in health and medicine? So let's use the example of, look, gluten-free has become such a catchphrase, and I'm going to tell you right now that there are people out there who have severe gluten intolerance or allergy, people with celiac disease, who need to avoid it. But I have seen the marketing of this on so many products in things where it shouldn't even show up.
And implying that it's going to help everything. You're going to lose weight, you're going to feel better, you're not going to have any soreness and stiffness, you're going to be energized. All of the above, just because it doesn't have gluten and you don't have a gluten intolerance.
Well, that's right. We would pick general things that we know everyone experiences. If you've got IBS, maybe it's because of gluten. Erectile dysfunction, to go with the thing you were talking about earlier, maybe that's because of gluten. You know, whatever.
So you can make any product and maybe it is gluten-free. Say it's a food. But because it's gluten-free, then you can add on all these promises. Well, having trouble in bed.
Right.
You know what? Try this. This works.
All sorts of non-specific. I mean, sometimes when you see this marketing, may help you with fatigue, upsets, occasional upsets. I mean, things that we all have every day. So then you think, this product, I need to take it because it may help with this, because of this education.
Just the other day, I'm driving in the car and I'm listening to the radio, and it was back to back to back misleading ads for products. And I'm telling you, I bought products. I could not believe that those things were able to be said on the air. Because if I didn't know any better as a consumer, I mean, I'm a physician, I study this, I host a show, I look at this stuff all the time. I would have called in and got a product because it was so great.
Sure. Part of the reason we're allowed to get away with those advertisements and all of it is, well, a big part of it is there's just a huge gray area between the USDA and the FDA. And so, you know, for example, when we were trying to figure out what claims we can make about our food, you know, we would go to the USDA who we worked with and say, hey, can we claim that this helps with diabetes or whatever? And they would say, I don't know, check with the FDA. We'd go to the FDA and say, I don't know, it's out of our jurisdiction. So we were left to our own devices.
And the thing with the FDA, though, they allow something called a structure function claim. So as long as you don't mention a disease, so he can't say this can help you with diabetes, but he can say supports healthy blood sugar levels. The average person is going to think this is going to help me with my diabetes.
Yeah, right.
These are allowed by the FDA. Structure function claims are allowed, and food companies push it as far as they can. They really do.
Look, we've had representatives from the FDA on our show before who've openly said, we're on your side. Our hands are tied by Congress. There are all these loopholes. Is that the answer? I mean, is this, because if there are all these loopholes, you know about them, we can't win as consumers. We can't.
Not with the current system, because, I mean, it's really no one's fault at the USDA or FDA either at the moment. I mean, they're doing their job. The system is wrong.
Well, the book is called Big Fat Food Fraud, and you are all going home with a copy.